guys,
I'm Hallee,
and I'm Jamie.
and this is Literal Nonsense. Welcome back to Literal Nonsense with your hosts, Hallee and Jamie.
Wow, I didn't know we were starting off with such high energy today.
No, man. That was my last brain cell.
Well, we have a lot to talk about, so you better buckle up. All right, so we're gonna start this episode off a little different. Where we normally would banter, I must warn you. Like all jokes aside, like
you have been warned.
Yeah, so I want to warn that not only is this episode explicit, as most of our episodes, all of our episodes are, but this episode also is, we're just going to give all the trigger warnings now. So we will be talking about mature content. There's violence, sexual assault, sexual abuse.
Dark
topics. Am I missing anything else? I think that covers it. But yeah, all jokes aside, everyone, if this is not your cup of tea, that is okay. Just skip this episode. Quite frankly, it wasn't our cup of tea either. So we were we've seen Haunting Adeline all over Booktok. Book clubs have read it. We mentioned last week, we were like, oh, finally want a book that gives us what we want. Nope. No. That was not the case. I think we were more so shocked we wanted a dark romance. I did not think we thought this dark. Simply maybe I am too vanilla and I'm not understanding. That's the only thing I could think of. And on top of the trigger warnings, like I mentioned, if you are not okay with hearing about sexual assault, sexual abuse, violence,
human trafficking,
yeah, skip this. We are not offended. That being said, we're going to talk about the books as we normally do. And so I want to also be very clear that we're not making fun of BDSM or kinks or anything like that. If we're not understanding something when we're talking, explain it to us. We love to learn. I personally was not a fan of the rape kink.
Same.
It wasn't like, we'll go into it. It's not like, oh, playing at rape. It's legit rape.
Yeah.
So if we don't understand and that's like a thing, again, we love to learn. So let us know. We're not trying to offend anyone. I'm wearing my bad bitch shirt to really embody the vibes today again.
I'm in overalls, so not the vibe at all.
I like it. So just want to warn you guys before we even get started, even into the synopsis of the book. Just wanted to make all of that very clear to you that there's trigger warnings, and at the same time, we're not making fun of anything. We make fun of everything, but like not in a serious way. We're not trying to offend anyone. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. We love everyone. We accept all. Mm-hmm. I think that's really all we had to warn about. Yeah. And now we can just go fully unhinged with this.
Yeah. All right. So this was Jamie's brilliant idea, was to read this book. And
I thought maybe
in her sick, twisted brain, she's like, oh, Hallee will love this book.
Yes, I did. And
I'm really offended that she thought I would like this book. I mean, granted, I guess neither of us knew the extent of what this book was about.
No, and I think if it wasn't for the rape, you would like this book.
Probably, yeah.
So I wasn't completely far off.
Yeah. Well, here we go. So, Haunting Adeline has really hit the ground running. Apparently, it was written and it was banned. So there was your first red flag.
Yeah.
But then somehow it was republished, and now she's a USA Today's best-selling author. Mind blown.
Which, like, are you all okay? Yeah. Again, not judging. I just have to know, because even, we feel strongly, but like even people in the book club were like, oh my God, I love this book. And I was like, I'm confused. Am I reading the same book?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly haven't heard anything bad about this book. I mean,
Shocking.
like, a lot of people are like, "Oh my god, I love this book, but I don't know what it says about me." And I was always like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
Yeah.
But I didn't hear any bad things about it until I was on Goodreads and I was like reading like the 1 and 2 star reviews. And I
Us.
was like, "Oh, makes sense," you know?
Insanity.
So basically, the book is about this girl. Her name is Adeline, and she's an author. And her best friend is like a computer wizard person, and her job's like kind of top secret. Adeline doesn't really know exactly what she does. But anyway, so Adeline, she ends up
Yeah.
inheriting. Is that the word?
Yeah, inheriting.
Inheriting.
Mm, no, it is.
Okay, it just like sounded wrong when I
No,
said
I
it.
said it and I also was like, something's wrong.
Yeah. So
Inheriting. Yeah.
she ends up inheriting her grandmother's house, and the house is haunted. It's old as fuck. But she loves it. All right, great. Right off the bat, she's like, "I love all things spooky," and I was like, "All right, cool, spooky book. Love to see it."
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so she's like living in the house, and then she finds her great grandmother's old diary, and essentially, we find out that her great grandmother was grand. Can't speak. Her
Wow.
her great grandmother was murdered. So now Adeline makes it her sole mission to figure out who killed her great grandmother because the case went cold. They never figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the help of her BFF and the diary, she's trying to piece it all together. In the meanwhile, she attains a stalker.
Attains it like it's a piece of fucking cake.
And, this isn't like your stalker that just like hangs outside your house and like berates you when you leave. Like this stalker is
He's not an
intense.
average stalker.
He's out of this world. Um yeah, so she attains the stalker and, she's like, "What a freak. I don't like him." Da da da. And then he's like, "Oh, I love you. I will always love you and you will be mine." And she's like, "No, I won't be." And he's like, "Yes, you will." Long story short, she falls in love with her stalker. Stockholm syndrome, I don't really know. Like, it's giving a lot of tropes, a lot of vibes that I just was not expecting, like, at all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, so anyway, so while we're reading, right, at the end of each of Adeline's chapters, they're like titled like the manipulator, and then her stalker's, his name is Z or Zaid, whatever his name is. His chapters are labeled
The
the
shadow.
shadow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And at first when I was reading it, I was like, what the fuck? Who the fuck? I didn't understand it, but now it makes sense after reading the book. Um, so after the end of Adeline's chapters, every single one, there's a diary entry from her great grandmother, and they progressively get darker. So apparently, the great grandmother also had a stalker,
Who she also
and
fell in love with.
yeah,
This sick fucking family. Are we okay? So now, yeah, Addie's like, did the stalker kill her?
yeah. I mean, plausible.
Because plausible for sure. And I think she's trying to like also, as she's, fighting the urge to fall in love with her stalker, she's like, oh, like if he did kill her, then it like makes me not want to fall in love with him. Like I have justification to be like, get away from me. Which
Yeah,
you have anyway, but
yeah,
okay.
exactly. The way you're going about this is all wrong, and we will go into that because
Oh, we're going into every
it's sick
encounter.
and twisted. Like all the fucked up decisions like have a really fucked up meaning behind it, and I'm just not down with it.
Mm-hmm.
But
But
anyways,
I feel like when we
what?
first started the book, like I was into the spooky house
The
and like the
first
diary.
the first 100 pages I think were fine.
Into it. I was like, this is gonna be great for
I was
us.
like sick. I was reading it and then Jamie's like, "Oh, wait till you get to like 150, things are going to change." And I was like, "Oh, great, what the fuck could happen?" Um Rape happens. So that's what happens.
Yeah.
So, anyways, basically this all starts because Adeline and her friend, what's her name? Sonia?
Dea. Sonia.
I don't
I
know.
mean, same vibe actually. Dea and Sonia. Okay, I accept.
I don't know why I was thinking
That
that,
wasn't
but
that bad. I
okay.
laughed, but I was like, that was fine.
All right, anyways. Um they go out and Daya's like, "Oh, like you have to go get laid. Like you should go hit up this guy that you used to mess around with." And she's like, "No, I don't want to." And Daya's like, "Well, I already texted him for you." Okay, great. So he like comes over the house and then like they're like getting to the nasty or whatever, and there's like a loud banging on the door, or something like that, and like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
so whatever, she gets cock blocked. Nothing ends up happening. He leaves. Then they go out, her and her friend Dea, and they're at this club or something, and they meet these like hot guys, and they
But
each
they're
go
giving
home.
icky vibes too.
Yeah, they're mad shady, but for
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason, they're like, yeah, let's go home with them. So Adeline brings this guy. What's his name? Max.
Max is the friend.
Oh,
I don't remember what his name is.
well, there's this other guy that she goes home with, and they're like getting into it in
Mm-hmm.
the fucking, what's that called, with the glass windows
Oh,
everywhere.
like a conservatory?
Yeah. And I guess the stalker is watching, so he like bangs on the door, and like the guy's like, I will save you, I will protect you. So he
Pulls a
goes
gun
out.
out.
Yeah, he pulls it. Where'd that come from? I don't
I
know.
was like, what?
He
Who are you
leaves.
hooking up with, bitch?
Yeah, seriously. Um, how'd you also not do a pat down before? I don't know.
Letting this
They
man
were,
in your
I
house.
mean, like you're
Yeah.
all touchy touchy. How did you not feel a gun in his waistband? Whatever.
Amen.
So, he goes outside and he disappears, and she was like, "Well, what the fuck?" So she gets this anonymous text, and she knows it's her stalker because he like left a note for her, because he'll break into her house and leave like roses everywhere.
Which, like, bitches love flowers, but
I
I don't
mean,
like flowers like that.
yeah, that was like weird. Anyway, so she gets this text from unknown, and it's like, sneaking off with random men, little mouse. If I catch his hands anywhere near you, they'll end up in your mailbox by morning. Well, guess what? The stalker delivered his hands on her front stoop. Actually, he didn't even put it in the mailbox.
He said, skip USPS. We're going right for the delivery, which, yeah, like, are you good? Like, you haven't even interacted,
Yeah,
like, really.
I think I
Like,
think if
I like a possessive man, but,
yeah, I think if the context was different, like that text could have been like intriguing.
well,
But
you liked it.
I did, but I was like, kind of. That's what I'm saying. Like if the context was different,
Hmm.
it would be fine.
Or if he didn't really do it.
Yeah, well, but he did do it. So and then like we get like his chapters, and he like goes into detail about how like violence is orgasmic for him. And I'm like, all right, enough. Enough. There's 400 pages more I have to read. This is ridiculous.
Yes, that was the worrisome part, I feel.
Like, and then he comes into her house, or he's outside, and like she sees him, and this bitch runs outside, and she like goes right up to him, and she's like, fuck you, stop stalking me, and she's like hitting him and shit. And I'm like, bro, you're just as crazy, and if anything, you probably want to be just like your great grandmother.
Right. Like, yeah, you got a weird fetish thing going on. And I don't know, man. And so he's like progressively getting closer to her, right?
Yeah, well,
At this part,
I think also we should mention like what, okay, so basically what he does is like he scours the dark web, and he like finds human traffickers and like sex traffickers, and
and
he like,
rapists.
and rapists, and like people who abduct children and like commit sacrifices on them, which was also like very oddly strange if you're into like conspiracy theories like Illuminati. What's that artist Abrovmajek or whatever her name is, apparently that she's into like child trafficking and like using their blood for fucking satanic rituals and shit like that. Do you know anything about that?
Like Illuminati. I don't know, like that woman you just mentioned. But,
Well,
well, it
apparently.
was weird because in the beginning of the book, the author literally wrote and was like, hey, like, not to get myself in trouble, I'm just basing this off like movies and stuff. So if I'm hitting the nail on the head, I don't know anything. And I was like, damn, bitch, like,
I mean,
I don't love that.
it begs the question, like, is this a real thing? Well, anyways, all that aside, so that's like his job, and he like kills these people, and he like saves the children and women and whatever,
Save the
essentially.
children.
Yeah.
He's like a
um
vigilante.
yeah, and so it's like he's doing that, but then like he's also stalking someone, and he's like literally threatening her life.
And he's gonna rape her. We'll get there. But he,
and
he rapes her.
and he rapes. So like I just, but like in his sick twisted mind, like he's like, oh, she'll learn to love it. What kind of fucking sense does that make?
Yeah. So, and like right now, like I said, like at this
Well, I mean, she
part,
does, but
right. Yeah, I mean, you're both fucked up people. At this part, I felt like he was stalking her again. I don't condone stalking, but I'm just saying he was stalking her, leaving the roses. She came up to him, he wasn't speaking, and I was like, ooh, like if we keep on this train, I'm like into it. I'm like, ooh, morally gray character, whatever.
Hmm.
Um, we turn into like morally fucking black. So basically, also going off what Hallie just said about the fact that he is like this vigilante, whatever. He like owns this whole company. We'll find this out later, but Dea
Hmm.
works for the dark web, trafficking and helping people get out. So already in the beginning, you're like, well, she works for him, unbeknownst to everyone. But
Yeah.
like, how many of these fucking companies are there? You know what I'm saying? Um, so that's interesting that like that's like a tie. And now I don't know, man. Like he just is giving me weird vibes. I was intrigued in the
Yes.
beginning. Then I was like, I don't know. Are you really sick and fucked up?
Yeah, but can we also like go into the fact that like okay, she doesn't just brush over these topics. She's not like, "Oh yeah, like this is what I do and like that's it." Like the author literally writes in detail what the fuck is going on. Even with the trafficking, the children
Mm-hmm.
sacrificing, the rape, like she goes in detail and you're just like, "What?"
Hallie's like, is this real? Let me know.
I'm like, is there like a parallel universe where this is actually happening? Like first of all,
No, it is detailed. It is detailed. I didn't mind so much. Okay, not okay. I don't. How do I word this? I didn't mind so much the detail about the human trafficking and like the like whatever because I was like, that's very imaginative and it's like a cult and it's like very much so portrayed as this is a bad thing that's happening.
I mean, yeah, but like I
I
don't need to know the specifics.
okay, fair. But my issue is, so he keeps getting closer and closer. They finally have their first sexual encounter. This was already where I was like, do I continue this book? Essentially. Um, so he breaks in her house. She's there. And again, if you did not heed the trigger warning in the beginning, this is the time to turn it off, everyone. He proceeds to rape her with his gun.
Which I've never thought of that. I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know
Um,
people do that
and again,
or
I'm
can think of
yeah.
that.
No, yeah. I'm very aware that there's like rape kinks, right? From what I understand about this is that like it's like an act. Like with a
Mhm.
partner, it's agreed upon, you have like a safe word, whatever. I don't know. I don't do these things, but I'm foggily aware, okay?
Jamie is like secretly a rape kinkist.
I'm not. Um, but from my issue with this book is this is not an act. This is not a kink. She's genuinely saying like you're scaring the shit out of me. I don't want to do this, and he's raping her with his gun. And he's like, "Oh, your body's saying yes." Well, that's a pretty bold fucking assumption.
That's
Um,
like when like that what's that stupid fucking thing where like guys are like, "Oh, well, she's dressed like that, she's asking for it." Like
excuses? I don't know. Yeah, I
that's
mean,
insane. What, me showing my legs is an invitation for you to assert yourself on me and try to fucking dominate me? I don't think so, buddy.
and I was shocked. What was going through your head? What was your reaction to this? Because I was
I w-
befuddled.
literally the whole time I was like, how did somebody think of this? Like
I I
how did this pop into somebody's head and was like, yeah, let me publish this? I was like, what?
there was no words in my mind.
Concerned. I was very concerned.
Yeah, I think just shock, befuddled, bewildered. Um,
I was
holy
like,
fuck.
yeah, I was like, well, how am I gonna keep reading? Like, is
Well,
this
right,
what
and that's my
everything's gonna
thing.
be? Like,
Yes. And I was like, I know, just based off reading many books, she was gonna fall in love with him. And I was like, how do
mhm.
we progress from here?
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing nowhere to progress from here.
Yeah. And also too, like side note, you know how like people like will start reading a book and then they'll DNF?
Yes.
Like I mentally cannot do that. Like it's the
No, me
same
either. I
like
have to
I
finish.
have to finish it or else like I don't know if it's like I don't a tick or like
No, I agree. I'm miserable the whole time, but I have to finish.
is it like a neurodivergent thing? I don't know, but like so
No,
now I'm
I'm
like
I'm all with you.
yeah, so I was like fuck, well now I have to continue to read this.
Yeah, no, he's raping her with a gun on page 200. We have till fucking 650 and we have to finish.
Yeah. Oh, and then also too, like before all this, like he's saying he's talking about an incident where he found a video of like a child being slaughtered for a ritual or whatever. And he's
Mm-hmm.
like, these sick fucks, like, you know, he was like, I can't even go on with my regular day. I'm like, buddy, what type of fucking regular day you having? Because it's not what majority of everyone else's
Yeah, you're
their
not going
regular day.
food
Yeah,
shopping.
like I thought that was quite a profound statement to make.
I also want to mention, just as far as her statements go and stuff, her writing also isn't great. It's very dramatic
It
as
was
we
better
get.
than Colleen Hoover, I'll tell you that much.
Okay, that's fine as far as like the
Period.
as far as the descriptions and stuff. I don't even necessarily disagree with you. I think the parts that bothered me was as we go further into like sex scenes and stuff, he's like, I am God. And I was like, that, you're corny
Yeah,
as fuck.
yeah, that was weird.
Like,
What if
you're
I'm
already
an
raping people and
what if
being
I'm an
super
atheist?
unattractive. Right. There's no way. And also, I don't see him being a godly fucking man. I don't fucking know, man. But so yeah, okay, yeah, so she's claiming this is sexual assault, but she's also like in her own mind, like in her point of view chapters, she's like, but I enjoyed it. So mm,
So, yeah,
hmm,
so I was also very confused. So I'm like, okay, obviously we quite clearly have an episode of rape here. And
quite clearly.
but then the next you turn the page and she's saying, "Well, I liked it and I don't really know how I feel." And it's like,
I don't know how you
you
feel either.
I will give you my therapist's number. Like, you need to talk it out, baby girl. Like, this is just not you need to figure it out. Please.
Yeah. And so
And she does
then,
that throughout the whole book.
yes, then we go into our second sexual encounter.
Yeah, so again, he like comes into the house, he ties her up, and then he like gives her oral, which was also completely unconsensual.
Completely. And she was like
And
sleeping.
yeah,
There's tape
yes,
on her mouth. Like,
yeah, like she woke up with tape on her mouth, like what, and her hands were all tied. Like I was just like,
I would be fucking screaming. And she was. So
yeah.
hello. And also he's like bite, not to be like TMI, which I mean not that like, we're not typically, but he's like fucking chomping down on this bitch's clit. And I'm like, and like she's like, ow, it's hurting. And I'm like,
This whole book makes me so uncomfortable. Like you have no idea.
Hallie texted me when we finished reading and she's like, can we record this? And I was like, oh, we have to.
I was
Imagine
like,
this episode is the one that takes off.
I would literally shoot myself. Like that is. I don't think I could ever look anyone
We'd
in the
have to
eye ever
read
again.
only books like this.
That'd be terrible.
Okay.
It's like having a virgin watch The Miracle of Life. Like it's just like not okay.
No, it's not. None of this is okay. And also, on top of him chomping on her, he's also
Stop saying
describing
chomping. That's so I hate that.
nibbling. Like that's even
Ew,
worse.
ew, Jamie.
um, on top of that occurrence, well, this gets worse. He's also describing her as creamy, and I want
Ew.
to fucking kill myself. Is this a joke? Am I like? I'm like sitting next to my husband reading this book, and I'm like, don't ever touch me again. I actually have an aversion to men.
But like people like, but like it's just so crazy how we're so like ew, like what is this? And then like I'm pretty sure there's probably a good amount of people in the population who like enjoy this.
They're just flicking the bean to this shit, and I'm like,
That's, yeah,
it ain't doing it for me.
but
Like, you may as well have just thrown the word moist in there and really fucking turned me off. I mean, this is insane. This is fucking insane. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. And then like there's another sexual encounter, and of course it's also not consent. I can't fucking speak English. I'm so flustered. What happens? Oh, she like gives him head or something.
Yeah, and okay, on top of it not being consensual still, like, we're just going through them quickly. He's stalking her in the middle of them, whatever. Um, she doesn't want to suck his dick, which, understandable. Up
Yeah.
until this point, it's been being done to her, so it's like, whatever. Now she has to do actions, and she's like, I don't love being raped, but I really don't want to like be actively doing things.
That's so
And
fucked
he
up
takes
the
his
way
dick.
you say that.
Well, like, but like literally, that's what this sick
Yeah,
bitch
I
is
know.
doing.
Like, I don't really mind being raped, but like,
Like, what is happening? And then, so on top of that, he's like, suck my dick, and she's like, no, thank you. And so he proceeds to take his penis and just smack her in the face with it. Classic literature.
like I think that like fucking what's her name Like Jane Eyre, like would fucking be rolling in her grave if she fucking read this.
She's like, romance.
It's like, like who's the guy from Pride and Prejudice?
Mr.
Yeah, Mr. Something.
Biggins? It's not
No,
that.
definitely not. Well, anyways, I just think that like he would be appalled. Like that is like
They
prime.
had like a hand touch, you know what I'm saying?
I think that okay, we don't need to go into that, but anyways, yeah, I don't know. Like it's just not the vibe truly. Um Also
Mr. Darcy, just saying.
yeah, Mr. Darcy, like he would be appalled.
I'm
Um
appalled, so.
he would say that a gentleman would never act that way, and I would agree with him.
Yeah, I think the bare minimum here is please don't slap me in the face with your penis.
But last time I heard Mr. Darcy wasn't such a gentleman himself. So, but I digress.
I can't even
Anyways,
breathe. Do you hear me? I'm like gasping for
yeah, I
air.
know. Did you hear me fucking like giggling like a fucking weirdo for the past 20 minutes? Yeah, it's because I'm so uncomfortable that I have to talk about this. That I read. I have to admit to people that I read this book. This is so
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
If anyone else feels shameful, let me know. We could feel shame together.
I
Shame,
mean,
shame be upon you.
and we're gonna get into it more because then things progress. We'll get there, but
Okay, yeah. Okay, anyway, let's just close this thought. Anyways, at the end of all this, we find out that Dea is working for Z.
mm-hmm.
So it's confirmed. And you're like, oh, well, knew that. And it's just like weird because, like, okay, I just think about like my shoe, like who I am as a person. If
My shoes.
my shoe, I'm talking from my shoes perspective.
Right.
If, if my friend came to me, Jamie, like, for example, if you came to me and you were like, hey, I have the stalker and we've been doing some nasty shit together. Not consensual, by the way, but I do like it. Just want to let you know this is what's happening. I'd be like, you're going into a 72-hour hold. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you are going to talk through whatever is going on in your fucked up brain, and we're going to come out of this together. And you're not going to sleep in your house because he obviously knows where you live. Two bitches is better than one, so like, we could fight, we could defend ourselves. But her friend is like, "Oh, that's great." She's like, "I don't really approve, but like, if that's what you want to do." And you're just
So
like,
this is where
"What?"
I'm mixed, which I fully agree with you. Like if you came to me with this, I'd be like, "What the fuck are you saying to me?" But part of me is like I love the like non-judgmental friend. So in my head, I'm like, "Are you a great friend or a fucked up friend?" Like I think probably more toward the fucked up end for
Look,
sure.
there's
But she is written as a great friend.
okay,
In
that's great. You can be a great friend, but I think this is a topic that you need to really lay down the law and be like, "This is not okay."
no, yeah, I mean, yeah,
Unless Dea is also really fucking sick and twisted and
she for sure is.
like she wants a part of it too. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what people's fantasies are here. Okay, but
Yeah.
like I liked Dea, and then she was like, "Yeah, hurrah Z!" Like, and I'm like, let's maybe just not do that.
Yeah, that's we should not do that. Yeah. And so while all this is happening, he has spare time while he's raping people. And so not people, just Addie. And so he's trying to take down the senators and the rapists because, rapists are bad.
And apparently, all senators are rapists
This is just fucking
in the
insane.
state of Washington. Apparently,
Fuck. And so he's meeting up with this guy Mark, trying to like act like, he's one of these rapists, which guess what? Not acting, you are a rapist. Okay.
Mark is the senator of Washington. The story
Yes.
takes place in Washington State. Just for
Hallie's like, just
clarification.
saying in case this is real.
And exactly. And Z saw Mark, the senator, in one of these videos that was leaked on the dark web of them slaughtering a child and using their blood. So he has targeted him specifically.
Yes, and his little buddies. So they're at lunch, and the Mark wants to go to lunch, and Addie's there. And so he all of a sudden starts looking at Addie, and Z is like, absolutely the fuck not. Like, because you can tell he's being like creepy about it, and he wants to like
Mm-hmm.
traffic her. And so he's like, that's my girlfriend, whatever. And so they basically like start eating lunch with her. She gets roped into this. Turns out Mark's father was Frank, who knew Gigi, and Gigi's written about Frank in her journals. He was like Gigi's, the grandma, the great grandma, the husband's best friend. So like Frank's in the journals. And he's like, oh, I'll tell you whatever I know. Come to my party, whatever. Okay, great. So Addie's kind of like, well, I want to find out. And Z is like, well, I need to keep you safe. So I guess we'll go to this fucking party. How did we get here?
God, I didn't know that Addie turned into a detective. Like
Again,
really
they all
laying
have ample time.
she's really laying her life out on the line, really trying to solve this case.
And so here's where I start questioning my sanity because she gets dressed, he gives her a dress, blah, blah, blah. They're going to this party. She's dressed all fancy. She finally gives him semi consensual, but it's better than we've had, so great. Um,
She
like
really
a
set the standards low.
right, like it's halfway consensual, and we're like, woohoo!
Yeah.
Um, she gives him like a blowjob in her nice dress. He ties a belt around her neck. So now here's my thing: if this was consensual, I could see this being a sexy scene.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I'm like questioning because I was like, okay, I could see this being hot, but I'm like, hello. Again, I'm trying to like legit dissociate and like block out the rape. That's the only way I could ever see that scene being hot because it was a hot as a standalone scene,
Hmm.
semi, if you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But guess what? It's not a standalone scene. She's been raped multiple times. So like, I just don't. I wish if the book, honestly, if he stalked her, right? Morally great person.
I feel
But
like
then when
you like
he
rewrite the books that we talk about because you're always like, this is how it could be better.
But like, hello, it could be because he's raping her, and that's not a good thing.
It's so
Like,
funny.
my thing is if he was stalking her, and then once he came in contact with her, if he was just nice and he was like, ooh, I like it a little rough, and it was like, she was like, me too. Or guess what? You could change the whole fucking dynamic of this book by just in these sex scenes, him being like, hey, is this okay? And her saying, yup. That's it. That's all that had to happen.
Okay, so here's where we can discuss. I
Uh,
I agree with you completely.
fuck.
But the author justifies this behavior by this little conversation that Zayd and Addie have. And Zayd is like, if I had met you somewhere else and obviously I look good and you're going to want me, and I pretended to be the nice doting, lover for a little bit, like I would be lying to you about who I am. So let me just be the fucking deranged animal that I am from the get, and that therefore there's no like miscommunication about like who I am as a person and where you stand.
Right. And here's my thing with that.
But I'm
I'm all
like,
about laying your cards on the table, right? But there's also like a warm up period. Like, you don't go from like not even knowing someone to raping them with a gun. You can be like, hey, I have this kink and this fantasy. After you've had normal, like, guys, nothing wrong with starting out with some normal consensual missionary. I'm just here to let you know. So it's like, then once you do that and you're like, hey, I want to spice things up. Ooh, how about a little blindfold? How about a little handcuff? Oh, we both like that? All right, how about some little gunplay? Like, I imagine there's a
oh,
build up
here's
period
a
to
little
this.
gunplay. Oh, okay.
Okay, but and this is where again I'm not again no shame like this is a real thing. Some people like this, right? In the BDSM community. There's like a dom and a sub and all these things. I would imagine you have to communicate your desires and it's not just like a taken for granted thing.
Well, because then that would be rape. So, which leads us back to square
Bingo.
one.
Right. So again, maybe this bitch wanted a belt around her throat while she's giving a blowjob. Great. Good for you. Honestly, sister, pop the fuck off. I respect it. I want you to want that and to be clear that you want that. Like again, everyone let your fucking freak flags fly high, you know what I'm saying? But it has to be consensual.
Yeah.
That's not like a hot take. That's pretty fucking again, the bar's low.
Yeah, I feel like that's just like decent human rights.
Yep.
Like, come on. Yeah, so like also so after all this thing with like the senator and like now he has his eye on Addie and like whatever, Zayd is like, I must protect her. So he starts teaching her self defense. And I literally read it and I was like, well, that's really fucking rich. Like, you're, you know, forcing yourself on this woman and now you're teaching her how to defend herself against monsters. Buddy, you are the monster. What? I just thought that was so fucking hypocritical and I was just like annoyed. And then like after that, he has like a really bad day because
Oh,
he
the
loses
baby.
yeah, he loses one of the kids. And so the freak that he is like standing in her on her fucking balcony, and she like wakes up and she was like, "Oh my god." And he like comes in, and then she like starts massaging him, and then she's like cuddling him and like comforting him, and I'm like, "How did we end up here? How did we end up here?"
Right. Again, is this like a Stockholm syndrome situation? I feel like yes.
At this point I was like, all right, done deal, set, like this is just not.
Everyone's psychologically disturbed.
Yeah. And then also there's been like mentioned throughout the book, there's this carnival that's coming to town. We're going to the carnival, going to the carnival, like from
That was actually like
SpongeBob.
pretty good.
From SpongeBob, right? Pretty
Yeah,
good,
that was
right?
good. That was like the voice was like on
Thank
par.
you, thank you.
Hmm. No
I've
problem.
probably watched that episode 30,000 times.
Well, this is
um
not a carnival like that.
No, this is called Satan's Affair. So it's a pretty fucked up carnival. Obviously, the time period is also like the fall, so it's like October that this is happening.
Which the vibes of that, I like it.
Yeah, like that was fine. And like, okay, you have this like really scary, fucked up horror carnival that's coming in. Okay, cool. If that's your thing, that's what you like. Amazing. Love that for you. So her and Dea go to the carnival, and they're like online to go into this like one of the fun houses. And Mark is there with all the senators. I just want to know why, like, an 85-year-old crew of old fucking men are fucking going to a horror carnival.
Because they're trying to kidnap children.
Yeah, but, like, I would think at that frail age of 85, not saying that every 85-year-old is frail.
Of
I'm
course, let's
not,
not offend people with that.
I'm not trying to, say whatever.
Talk about rape, but don't worry, we're not ageist.
I just imagine, yeah, literally. I just imagine that, like, if I'm 85 years old, my ass would not be going to
You
a
don't have
spooky
cronies,
carnival because,
right? You don't
like,
have cronies to go get the children.
I'd probably piss my pants. I'd get scared, have a heart attack, and die. I mean, like,
Yeah.
we're trying to preserve what little life we have left, and these guys are like, full send. Let's fucking find these children and fucking take them. Anyways, so Addie and them and are like meeting. They're online, and then like they somehow get pushed into the house. So they get like split up, and like Zayd, of course, is fucking stalking her. So he's like got his sights, and he's like he finds out that like Mark is trying to kidnap fucking Addie and her friend, and so
What a sick book, man.
all this stuff happens. We'll go back to all that, but then like at the end of the night, they're like about to leave, and Addie's like, "No, I want to go in the House of Mirrors." Okay, freak goes into the House of Mirrors by herself. First of all, your life is in danger, not only from your stalker, but from these people who want to fucking traffic you. And you're gonna go into the House of Mirrors by yourself. All right, pop off. She goes into the House of Mirrors, and guess what? Guess who's there in the background? Zayd. And what do? They finally have sex in the House of Mirrors, completely butt naked. And I'm like, where is everybody? Like,
Like
where are the other
I'm,
people?
well, yeah, right. And I'm also okay. Like a little like sex from a mirror could be hot from all angles. I don't need to see myself from all those angles.
That's like a lot.
That's a lot of
It's
like,
a lot to take in. LOL.
yeah, like there's just too many holes that you're just
True.
you have like a fucking surround sound. Yeah, I hate that. And it's like, well, at this point, I'm like, whoop de fucking do. Like, okay, like,
Yeah.
great. Like, he didn't have sex with her.
Any
So,
other
like,
time.
is that what he's considering not rape because he hasn't like penetrated? Like, that's a fucking shitty stance, Zayd. Um,
That is a shitty stance.
so I'm like, okay, fine. And like then fucking Addie comes out and Daya's like, you've been gone for 3 hours. I thought you were fucking dead, you piece of shit. And then Daya's like, why do you smell like fucking sex? And I was like, what is happening?
Yeah,
What
it
the
was
fuck is happening?
so bizarre.
Mind you, is then Zayd's like, I have to go deal with something. So let's backtrack to the fucking funhouse.
Yeah.
Cause
So, okay.
yeah, this is well, you like this.
This was kind of fun though. I kind of liked this part, not gonna lie.
I figured.
So, Addie mentions that like when they go, they like got food, right? So they're sitting at a table and they're eating food, and there's this really fucking creepy, live action role play doll that's like fucking staring her down. And she's like, oh, this person's really fucking weird. She's really getting into it. Um, and so like she like gets up and she like prances like away into the fun house. And comes to find out after the House of Mirrors, when Zayd is like, peace, gotta go deal with a creepy doll. This is the creepy doll that he is in fact dealing with. So when Addie and Dale were in the funhouse, let's see if I can like concisely say all this. Um Zayd had gone in after them, and like even after like Mark, the senator, and all his friends went in as well. And this creepy fucking doll attacks Zayd because she thinks that he's a child trafficker, which I think is very strange right off the bat that like she's pointing him out. I thought that was like really
Well, and the
fucking
fact
weird.
that there's like a bunch of fucking child trafficking vigilantes is wild to me.
That is also very wild, yes.
Like, this bitch is also in the cause, you know? Like, what is
Yeah.
going on?
I don't know. So like she attacks Zayd. Zayd like fucking decks her, and he's like, "I'm on your side," like essentially. So he was like, "Oh, we'll deal with them later." So she was like, "Okay, I'll go grab the four men. We'll let the wife go, and then like come meet me at 12 o'clock, and we'll deal with them." And I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Yes,
So
this
they
small
go.
woman grabs these four men.
So she goes, and like Zayd was off doing whatever he was doing. He comes back, and she was like, "Oh, it took you so long." He's like, "Oh, I had something to deal with." Of course, he always got something to deal with. And then they proceed to question Mark. Obviously, he's not speaking. So the doll goes fucking apeshit, and she fucking takes a knife and she just starts cutting up his friend. Just goes at him like he's a fucking piece of meat on a carving board. Like it was insane. And Zayd's like, all right, honey, let's just take a step back for a second. He's like, I need this one alive."
Like, and this is normal to everyone.
This is so bizarre. Like, I can't even speak. I can't even form words. Like, I'm
No.
just so confused. Well, anyways, so he gets the information that he needs from Mark. He fucking kills Mark, and then she's like, "I got the rest of them." So then, like, she fucking just goes ham on all of them. It's like fucking Chainsaw Massacre without the fucking chainsaw. It's like it's a 5 foot tall girl with a knife.
Right, dressed as a doll. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, so not. I can't speak either. On top of thinking up raping someone with a gun, we now are like, let's have a small doll murderer.
Chucky's wife was in full swing.
What the fuck? I mean, this is just sick. No wonder this book is banned. I mean, I was thinking like, like books that were banned in like, the 1970s were like, ooh, a little like they showed a little too much shoulder.
Yeah.
I mean, you should ban this book. Don't give people ideas. I mean, this is fucking crazy. And so Zayd and the cracked out doll, they kill the four senators or politicians. I don't know, whatever, the people of power. And so Addie's like spooked because she basically was like, yeah, that was what we did. We killed them all.
Because it was on the news,
Right.
obviously. Your senator just got fucking slaughtered and they can't find his
And
body.
the doll popped up and they were like, oh, she took the blame for all of it. Of course she did. And so Addie's
Also,
spooked
come
by
to find
this.
out that like it's because she's like fucking schizophrenic or something. Like
Yeah,
she has actual mental illness that she's never been fucking treated for.
correct.
Yeah,
And
so
so Addie is spooked
crazy.
by this, rightfully so. And so she takes out of her house running through the woods. And Zeta's chasing her. Now, this is like a fucking horror movie. I mean, like, I'm not turned on by this. I'm like, run faster, you know? Um, and so he catches up to her. Obviously, he's big and large, and she's small, and probably
Run faster.
yeah, like, what is happening? And so he catches up to her. He rips her clothes off, and it's raining. And he's just fucking spread eagling this bitch so
In
she's
the woods.
exposed to the woods and
On
it's
the floor.
raining on her and
Yeah.
she's like the rain's hitting my vagina and I'm like what is fucking happening. um
Wait,
this is
can we also
terrifying.
can we also just say like he calls her little mouse and she calls him kitty
Kitty
cat?
cat.
Like barf, first of all. Ugh.
And I wish, okay, if he called her little mouse every once in a while, I would be like endearing, maybe kind of sexy, unsure, whatever. It's
Depends on the
constant,
context, yeah.
and given the context, I hate it. So he catches her and he rapes her again. No, he doesn't rape her. She's actually fine now. She wants it. Sorry, my bad. My bad. Sorry. My assumption was rape because he chased her in the fucking woods, but I forgot. She agreed to it in a second. So he has sex with her up against a tree.
Oh my god. Yeah, and she's saying that like the bark is like ripping her back apart or something because he's just like hitting it so
fucking,
hard. Like it's just
and
like,
then she's like, that was only temporary release. To the house we go. I'm like, what
and they don't
in
make
the
it to the
fuck?
house. They don't make it to the house. They go to the car, and I'm like, what? Just don't. I
He
just.
ties her up with seatbelts. I mean, guys, this is fucking insane. I mean, this is what? Which again, she's into the whole seatbelt car thing. I was like, maybe, again,
Mhm.
a standalone scene. If she's like, yes, tie me up to this car seat, I'm like, okay, fine. Could be hot. The rain's outside, sexy, steamy, almost giving like Titanic in the stagecoach vibes, dare I say.
Ew.
Um, but it's not because again, it's not a standalone scene. He just chased her through the fucking woods.
And then it just really just takes off after that. So they're just together forever.
Yeah, no, they're just like dating and fucking all the time.
Okay.
Hello?
Literally. Yeah, hello. Um
I'm baffled.
yeah, I don't I okay, I have a quote apparently on page 541. Must have been good if I had to write it down.
You also wrote one thing which I thought was funny. I want you to rant about it. In the woods scene, as you're finding that one,
Mhm.
you noted that she said there's tears burning my retinas,
Oh my
and you were
god.
mad. Oh, there
I
you go.
was so angry. Okay.
I wanted to make sure that I said that because if you forgot, you'd have been upset.
I have a very diligent background in optometry because that
Fun
is
fact.
that is my job. And I just would like everybody to know your retinas are literally the wallpaper of the inside of your eye. Nowhere near where the tears come out. So I would just like to say if you're going to write something, just please be scientifically and physically correct because that after all the bullshit that you made me read, that was thrown in my face not once, but it was also mentioned twice. I didn't write the second time. It was like a couple pages after I was like I'm done. This is fucking fucked up.
Preach, sister.
I was so mad. Anyways.
Well, as she's finding that quote, so yeah, so they're
Oh,
having
I found
sex. She
it.
misses him. It's like they're like little boyfriend girlfriend. Fine.
Yeah, she's like in bed and she's like, I miss him so much. And she's saying how like, oh, like I hope I don't like his favorite foods because if I do then I'll eat off his plate. And then she's like, oh, he probably wouldn't even mind and that softens my heart into a pile of mush because somehow a man that wouldn't care if I ate his food fell in love with me. That's so fucking cute.
He's raping you. Like I think the
I was
the
like,
like
I just think, okay, this is my thing. We go from one really fucking extreme rape to, oh my god, does he like the same foods as me? Like, that's fucking
okay, so
deranged.
also a hot take here. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. Now, the most obvious statement here is my
What?
husband does not rape me. Shocking, I know. Number two part of that is he gets extremely angry when I eat off his plate. Very mad.
Yes.
He's food aggressive like a dog.
Well,
So,
you're also food aggressive, so.
no, we both are.
So-
So, here's my thing. I'm like, let's weigh the scales. Someone who rapes someone but lets you eat off their plate. Someone who doesn't rape someone but gets mad when you eat their food. I think I'm going for the latter. I think. Like, but she's like, oh my God, that's a stand up kind of man.
yeah.
Um,
It just doesn't make sense, you know? And then,
no,
like,
no, no, doesn't make
so,
sense.
like, as we were nearing the end, I was like, this bitch definitely gonna get fucking taken. I know she's gonna get taken because, you know, where else is this gonna go? And guess what? She gets taken. We don't
Well,
really know.
first Daya finds out that she works for this guy,
Yeah, so like
which
Zayd,
is not like a big deal,
she
but
like runs into Zayd and Addie like together, and she's
on the
like,
balcony, just fucking having morning coffee.
yeah, and she's
And
like,
she's like, I'm sorry.
yeah, isn't that crazy? We've gone from raping someone with a gun to quick coffee chat in the morning on the balcony.
And then, Zayd is telling Addie all the things he's going to do. He's going to go break up the ritual, and she's so worried about him. And I just don't know how we got here.
Yeah, you know, we've read the book, so like we we read the progression, but I mentally how we got to point A to point B just doesn't make any sense.
No, they're sick fucking people. So yeah, so that's where we're at. But yeah, anyway, so now the book is closing. And so we get a lot of like loose ends tied up. I don't even fucking, I guess.
Yeah.
And so we find out number one about Gigi.
Hmm.
So stalker didn't kill her. So she's like, oh, great, my stalker also won't kill me. That's like a bold stance to make, but here we are. So we find out that Frank, Mark's dad, who, maybe piece of shit just runs in your genetics,
Mm-hmm.
he killed Gigi because not only did he love his best friend's wife, but then she started having an affair with her stalker, and he was like, it wasn't me. So not
Mm-hmm.
only did you not pick me the first time, you didn't pick me the second time, so therefore you must die.
Yep.
Okay, so she solves the murder. Now her and Day are all over the news. Yay, solved cold case. Great granddaughter. Okay, fine. Zayd is now going to break up this satanic ritual. Fine. I don't understand the end of the book as much. It was a setup. That was what was happening.
Yeah, I also was very confused, and I also was skimming it because I was like, I just can't mentally read
I
this
think it was
anymore.
a setup. Like I think they knew that Zayd was going to come. It was a setup. Something a bomb went off
Yes.
or something.
Yeah, which was not known. So like they kind of got fucked, but like they ended up saving
The
people. I don't know.
child. I
Yeah.
think I think they say the child. But then like there's like a gun to Zayd's head, and then they're like you, and then it ends. So I don't even know who I
Yeah.
think that is.
It might not be somebody from this book,
Right.
you know?
Well,
And
but
then
then like you just mentioned, so Hallie was calling that Addie was gonna get taken. I guess I just didn't think about it that much. I was too fucking distracted by the other fuckery going on. But so Dea was texting her. Well, it wasn't Dea. It was like, oh, come over quickly, whatever.
Mhm.
And then Max's guys, the guy from the beginning, who she was hooking up with his friend, the handless one,
Yeah. Was
he
that
like
confirmed it was him?
he's the one who crashed into Addie and took her. So I'm wondering, like, maybe Zayd saw someone related to Max, or part of me was like, what if Dea's the one who like was in
Maybe.
cahoots?
Maybe she
I
was
don't know.
jealous. Or maybe they're two
Which
completely unrelated things.
they could be as well. Well, yeah, I don't. Yeah, it could be as well.
Time
I
to
don't
sleep,
know.
princess, and then darkness.
That's
Oh
how it
yeah,
ended.
it was Max. Yeah.
Max.
Yeah, it
So
was.
yeah, it could be unrelated. It could be related. I don't really know who I think it is. Um,
And see, now this is the sick part of my brain. That's like, like I can't not finish the book. Now I'm like, well, now I need to know. So now part of me is like, well, I almost need to pity read the second book, even though I
yeah,
don't
I
want
was gonna
to.
ask you, would you read the second book?
Well, at least I think we're past the rape parts. So
Right, maybe it'll be better. Like, but like, how fucked up that we're saying that? Like we're what's it called? We're like excusing it. We're like, oh well,
yeah.
now it might be actually sexy because he's not raping her. Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
again, bare minimum here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've also heard the second book is just as good, quote unquote. So
That doesn't make me feel better at all.
I don't know. I'm
Okay,
like,
well,
do I read it?
so
Do I not? This is a very, it's a moral dilemma
well, because
I'm
it's
having.
only a duet, so like we'd be done then finally.
Yeah, but then there's a
Um,
prequel. Are we gonna read the
no, 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 no,
original?
no, no. I don't need any more information. Um, so what was your rating for this book?
Okay, so I think on Goodreads I did give it a 3.
Wow.
I think I did give it a 3 because I felt like the story itself could have gone to a really good place. Like it could have been like it had really good potential, minus obviously all the debauchery that we just went through. And I wrote that in my review.
Okay.
I completely didn't enjoy those parts, and like overall it was okay,
It's just so
if that makes
fucked. No,
sense.
I get what you're saying.
Once we were past all that beginning shit, then I was like, okay, like, now we have like an actual plot. Like, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
he's gonna go like be his vigilante, stop this fucking ritual that's gonna happen. He's trying to infiltrate. Like he's got like his people coming with him. His people are in already, like as
Right.
bodyguards or whatever. I'm like, so I was like, okay, cool, like good action plot. Like this is what I like. But I felt from the beginning she was gonna be taken. I was like, obviously, and that
Right.
leads up to book 2 because where
Right.
else is it gonna go?
Which yeah, I don't mind. I think that like makes sense to have a sequel for this book. You know what I'm saying? Like that because some books like we feel like don't need a sequel. They just like, make it far fetched. Like kind of like with Housemaid. Like, oh now she's the fucking assassin for the
Yeah.
neighborhood. It's like annoying. This kind of makes sense to have a second book. So I gave it 2 stars. I feel like most books start at 4 stars. For me, if you wow me, you get 5 stars. If not, you're a 4-star good book.
Mm.
lost 1 star for rape, of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah.
and then lost a 2nd star because I wasn't a fan of him being like, I am God, like you're
Okay.
gonna like meet your maker with my dick, and I'm like, okay,
I
that's
kind
a
of
little
just
dramatic.
I just lumped that in with the other star that they lost for the rape and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
but even when he was consensually having sex with her, he was still like, you're gonna pray to me, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's not like my cup of tea, but like I know that's like a normal, not a normal thing, but like I know people do like that. You
Well, it
know what
ain't
I
me and
mean?
you, so
I know, but like I was like, okay, like in the confines of like what is normal versus what is not normal, or like
that could be
atypical,
normal.
maybe like typical versus atypical, like not
That's not
to,
that bad.
yeah, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like I wasn't like, yeah, like this is hot, but I was like, okay, like whatever, like someone's liking this somewhere, so
Right. Okay, fair. So I gave it 2 stars. Just because some of the writing was corny, and
yeah,
like
there
she
were a
would
few
compare
corny
things,
lines.
and she was like, "It's like a boat going down. Just call me the Titanic." I don't even know what the fuck the quote was, but it was like something like that, and I was like, "Ew." So
Yeah.
just like certain things were corny. Wasn't the best. I mean, I feel like honestly, you're lucky I didn't give you 1 star, Miss Ma'am,
Mm-hmm.
because there was rape. So
Yeah.
I feel like 2 stars was because like your plot was decent and you know your writing was like good with descriptions and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
you're lucky.
Yeah. I
So that's
think it's
where I
all
went.
relative. Yeah, I think it's like all relative with like how you rate books, right?
Right, correct. Well, we always differ like slightly,
Yeah.
and as long as there's a reasoning behind it, I feel like that
Yeah.
you know. And so, what was your closing thoughts on this experience?
I'm not gonna lie. There was a moment in time where I was like, I really hate Jamie for making me read this book and
I hated
for
my whole life.
making me have to talk about this for everyone to hear. But it's fine. Whatever. Here we are.
I think we did
Um,
a fine job. Like I didn't feel I felt fine.
just felt like just feel so bashful. Like this is so
I mean,
Moulin
it's not us.
Rouge. It's so
Well,
what's the word? I
I
don't
don't
know.
even fucked up.
Yeah, it is fucked up. Well, anyways, here we are. Yeah, I don't
Uh,
know if I'll read the next book. If I do, it's probably not going to be for a very long time. So,
yeah, I just think
and at
my
that point, maybe I'll
overall
forget everything from the first book, so I won't be
right.
as traumatized.
I think my overall closing thought is like I was just shocked. Like this is not what I expected. I knew it was gonna be a dark stalker into lover romance.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, you're allowed to just write about violent rape. I guess, yeah. I mean, like you can write whatever you want, apparently.
Yeah,
So I was just more so shocked. I think,
yeah.
like wow,
I mean, she did put a
yeah,
warning in the front of the book.
yeah. It didn't give me enough warning.
Yeah,
Like I was like, oh, it's gonna be like a little dark and twisted. Like no big
yeah,
deal. I wasn't like expecting to be like, oh fuck,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's really it. Okay, so we did it. We finished. Yeah, like I said, and part of me is almost like there were some scenes that I thought were hot, but I just couldn't get past the fact that he raped her.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that that's something that we should not take lightly as
Yeah.
readers. We shouldn't just be like, oh, but she did learn to like it. Well, again, the build up, like why was the build up rape and then her liking it instead of like again, classic missionary where you're both a little bored and then talking about your desires? That's a better build up. No? We don't like why? Why? I don't know. Was it like a shock factor thing? Did she want us to freak out? I don't know. I have no idea.
Probably.
Well, it worked.
All for the gram.
Yeah,
Bitches
man.
love the
Oh,
gram.
oh man. What a book. I would like if you guys have recommendations of like a dark romance
That's
that's
not like this.
consensual. I
Yeah.
would love it. I would love to hear about it because again, I'm into a morally gray, dark overtone.
Yeah, I like to like the overall vibe, like that spooky kind of like,
Yeah,
like, oh my god, I'm like running around my house because there's a stalker after me. Like that was like fine. I was like, oh my god, like this is so good. Like,
yeah,
but
and that
then
yeah,
like it was just kind of shattered because I knew what was gonna happen,
yeah, because it just kept happening.
and it just kept happening. Yes,
Yeah. Okay, well, so we did it. We read this book. Holy shit. I don't really have much else to. I don't even know how to close this.
I'm
Honestly.
picking the books from here on out.
I mean, we already picked our books through October, but
Ugh, yeah.
We're just really giving you guys a variety this summer.
I've also never read like actual horror, so like I don't know, like maybe these are
No,
just normal things talked about
no,
in horror. No, okay.
I don't. I mean, neither have I, but no, I don't think so.
Like I can't imagine Stephen King writing shit like this.
Well, apparently, I never read it yet. I do want to read it, but apparently it ends with like a child 13-year-old orgy. So, yeah. So that's not great either.
Oh my god.
What is wrong with all you people? Like, are we, like I said, am I too vanilla? Like, do I need to broaden my horizons? Like, I don't feel that way.
I just think maybe people are bored.
Guys, like, do a puzzle, get a hobby. I mean, take a walk.
Start a
Like,
podcast.
enjoy the nature outside. Yeah, like take a breath of fresh air, drink a cup of coffee. I mean, simple pleasures in life, you know?
Well, that's all she wrote. So
Well, that's that, friends. We'll see you next week.
with a very more uplifting episode.
Yeah, yeah, we'll talk about that next week because fuck. Okay, so we'll see you next week.
Okay.
We love you.
Thanks for hanging in on this fucked up ride with us.
Yeah,
And if
like,
you've read Haunting Adeline, please like
yeah, I
fucking
want to know your thoughts. Like, if you loved it, again, no judgment, but like, can you? I just want to hear your thoughts. Like,
yeah, like
why?
DM us. Let us know.
Yeah, because we were on the same page. I know a lot of people, again, there's people in the fucking book group chat who read this that were like, oh my God, Daddy Zayd. And I was like, I want to talk to you. Like, I just want to understand. I really just want to understand, I think. I'm just curious. It's piqued my curiosity to the point where I just need to know.
Yeah. You can
I just
like
need to know.
probably like go on Reddit and read like every forum about like this type of
I
stuff.
might deep dive on this.
You
I
might have
might
to.
go crazy. Okay. Well, let us know your thoughts on it. If they're the same or different than ours, all are welcome. I want to hear. Please. I'm so fucking interested. I need to know, or else I won't be able to sleep.
Maybe we should post a poll.
Yeah, something.
Anyways.
A bonus poll, because I just have to know.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Wowza. Love you all. Stay safe out there.
Seriously.
Fuck. All right.
Think with your head.
Right. Yeah.
Sentience is baffling.
Consent is consensual. Consent is always good.
Consensual.
The end.
The
Bye.
end. Bye.
Oh, God.